Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about what do you do when you're stuck. You don't know where to look. We're going to give you some tips on how that you can find places to start. So I'll show you some of my tips. I'll show you a current thing as of what day? We're in October of 2025. That is available right now. It's currently part of a lab. And so I will show you how you can find it, and then we'll show another way that you can also look for people on your tree. So let's say you have a very full tree and you just are wondering, where do I go? We've talked a little bit about finding people through Ordinances Ready, but here is another way that you can do it. I'm going to share my screen, and I'll share this screen. Here we go. All right, so here we go, and we're going to type in familysearch.org/campaign, and then it'll be campaign. It used to be roll-up test, but they now have it as campaign slash, and it should be under here, family with one. See, I've got my glasses off. Family ordinance opportunity. So family dash ordinance dash opportunities dash opportunities. So if you want to write that down, and you'll just say return. And I'm already logged into Family Search. If you weren't logged in, then you would need to log in. And what it does is it helps you quickly find available ordinances. Now, there is a disclaimer here. Just because there's a little green circle, which I'll show you in a second, that doesn't mean that the work is ready to do. It means it's possibly ready to do. I was just talking with someone, and they were very frustrated because one of the suggestions that came up was somebody in the 1600s in England that had no sources, and the family was actually quite messed up, and there were multiple families all mixed together. So it's up to us to use our due diligence to make sure that they have a source that is correct. And if at all possible, make sure they lived past the age of 8. Don't just go reserving just because it says green. Don't assume that that means go. So if you notice here, it says this page is an experimental prototype. Known issues will be addressed in a future release. So sometimes the ordinance counts may be not correct. And it's best used on a desktop, laptop, or a large tablet. This will not work on a phone. So here we've got this tree, and you can see there's little circles with numbers in them. This means that there are people that it's potentially found in the descendants of that ancestor that need some work done. So if I go along this outside, and usually I would start on the furthest one out, and I generally recommend to people to go to an area of the world where they're comfortable. So these are my Danish or Norwegian. I guess it's my Norwegian line. I'm very comfortable with that. These are some of my English. Here's some of my Swedish. Very, very comfortable with that. And so I've got quite a few Swedish. So let's just test it out here. I'm going to go to this one that has 12 that it comes up with. So I can choose what I want to say. I can do it by any ordinance. I can change it to say I just want baptisms or endowment. But for the case of what we're demonstrating here, I'm going to just show you what comes up. So they say that they have found Anders Hansen Lindqvist. He's our first one here. And it looks like he needs sealed to his parents. We have a reserve button, but my recommendation is that you don't just automatically reserve that. Let's go ahead and take a look at him. So it says he's a husband of Christina, Pearsdottir Ekman, and if we click on him, then we can see that he has 14 sources. So that is a really good thing. It also says that we've got a birth date and a death date. So all of a sudden, my confidence in what it's found has increased. What I would like to do is I'd like to see what parents he's connected to make sure it's just one set of parents. So I'm going to click on person. And when I come in here, then this is what I always do. One, I look at the sources. Two, I look at the relationship. So we'll do that first. So we'll switch it. So he's the husband of my first cousin 4 times removed. So I will scroll down and I'll see his parents. So it's saying he needs sealed to his parents. And he's attached to Hans Andersen and Sissa Pear's daughter. And there's not another set of parents. So that's also good. Then I would like to click on the parents. And here it's saying that there's these little boxes with the dashes around it. What that means is that I am not directly related to his parents. I'm related to Anders through his wife, Christina. So if I click on Christina and I click on this little squiggle right here, view relationship, she is my first cousin. He is married into the family. You can see right here, he's right here. So because of the policy change that happened in December, I have the ability to do his work because he's married to my cousin, and I can seal him to his parents. I cannot do any of their work, but I can do the sealing. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's the policy. So you still have the ability to do the sealing, and even if their work's not done, it's basically what my friend in Oregon called escrow. So it's sitting there waiting, and if their work is done, then it will be automatically valid. But I don't have any way at this point to be able to tell if their work's been done because at this point I'm not connected to them, only to their son, if that makes sense. So what I can do, I feel very comfortable now. I can go into ordinances and I can request. So I'm going to request this sealing to parents. And then if I wanted to, I could go to share and share ordinances with Temple. I'm going to keep that in my reservations. And now I can go back. And what I always recommend is once you've come into this family, look and see what other records you can find. So it looks like there's an Iowa death record, which I think is interesting because he died in Sweden. But what it makes me think is maybe one of the children went to the U.S. because there's also an Illinois death. So if I scroll down, I can see actually there's an Eric, and he did die in Illinois. And if I scroll down, I could probably see that one probably didn't die in, do we have another date? Somebody in the U.S. Oh, maybe this Hans. And he died in Iowa. So all of a sudden, just by looking this family, I have the ability to add some records that may lead me to more information on the family. I'll show you another way that I look for more work. So I just use that family ordinances request through the campaign to find this family. But I can also just click on Hannah, make sure, and I can't do anything on her here. That's the sister. So let's click on Christina, and we're going to view the tree with her. Now I'll change it to descendancy because what I want to do is I want to see any records that might need to be attached, but I also want to make sure that it's showing me that ordinances are available. I can also change it to 4 generations if I'd like. So that will show me more. And do you see all of a sudden what that opened up? All of a sudden I have a whole bunch of other temple ordinances that are ready. I have all of these records that can be viewed, and there's a really good chance that I'll be able to find more people. So as a review, you will just go to familysearch.org, and you don't have to do this campaign/family-ordinance-opportunities. And then you'll sign in, and then you can choose one of these in the outer layer. And then let's say I'm going to go to, let's just scroll down here. Let's go down another generation. So here's Emmy. That's a cute name. It says she's the wife of Eric Paulus Persson. So if I click on her, it's probably a very similar thing where she's the wife of my second cousin as well. So it would be the same type of a situation where it looks like her work is all done except for the sealing to parents. So let me see if I can find one that's just a little bit different than that. That's wife of, here's husband. So do you notice I'm seeing that these are a lot of spouses? This one, Annette Solomon's daughter, she looks like maybe she might be one that I can look at. So that's a direct relative. And when I go to her, I notice a couple of things. One, it says missing standardized death date. If I come over here, I can see that there's this little minus. If I get rid of that, I don't know why it's in there, but it's in there. And if I say save, then that disappears. So we just want it to say deceased if we don't have an actual date. There's no record hints for her here. So let me scroll down. I see that there's no spouse and I see her siblings. So what I do is I just click on each of the siblings to see if anybody is missing any ordinances. So none of these people are missing ordinances, but they are missing spouses and death dates. So I'll just show you really quick. If you're doing Swedish research, there's a website called rotter.se, rotter.se. This website is in Swedish, but they have what's called the Sveriges Dödbok, which is a death book. It lists all of the deaths from 1815 to 2020 or 2022. You can get this. It's between $40 and $50, I think, for a year, or you can buy a flash drive. But what's beautiful is that you can come in here. Once you've purchased it, you can log on it on any computer, anywhere you're at. And you can just, once you've logged in, which is right here, you can click begin search. If you haven't purchased it yet, you create a Rotter account. It's free. And then once you're in, and you can change it to in English, but this is where you purchase it. So if I clicked on this, I've already purchased it, but 1 year is 399 kroner, which I think is about $40. And it's very easy to do. I think they do Apple Pay or your credit card. And I have felt like it's very safe. So this is home. And when I come home, I will click on begin search. And then let's go back. Let's see if we can find that one. Let's just try Annette and see if she ended up getting married, since she's in the process of having her endowment done. So what I'll do is I'll just highlight her birth date. And I just remember that she's in Forslof. So one thing you have to remember is that this website likes to have the Swedish characters. So I'm going to put, and the spelling needs to be exactly the way it was. So I'm not even going to put her last name. If they died after the 1900s, most of the time they listed their spouse's last name. So I'm just going to put Annette, and I'm going to paste her date, but they like to have it in year, month, date format. So I do 1868, 11, 28. You don't have to do any dashes. And then I'm just going to get rid of this. So I've got Annette, I've got the date, and I know it was in Forslof, but Forslof can be spelled different ways. So I'm just going to search and see what happens. So I didn't come up with anything with that Annette spelled that way. It might have 2 T's. So we'll try that. And remember, I'm doing this on the fly. So this one looks like it's not in Forslof. If I click on it, then it will show me. So this is in Malmöhus. She was ogift, means unmarried. We're giving you a quick little Swedish lesson. We'll do another class on this where we talk a little bit more about it. But I don't think that this is mine. Actually, I know it's not, because it's Åkesson and her name was not Åkesson. So we'll go back, and for the sake of time, I'm just going to try one of her brothers. So she could have died as a little girl. Sometimes the dates get changed throughout the years in the church records. Maybe it was changed to the 27th of November, and so she wouldn't show up unless I experimented a lot. So let's see, we'll try Betty. And hopefully we find her there. So 4th of February, 1860, there's a possibility they could have all emigrated, and then they would not show up in here. So we're going to go to Betty, Betty. I put her birth date in, but remember, I need to change it to the month, which is February the 2nd month, 02 and 04. Then I'll get rid of this February. I can add Forslof, but I'm going to try it without, because I don't know if it's with a V or an F. And she did not show up as well, so she may have emigrated. So that may not be a very good example. Let's try one of the people that we know moved, just so you can see this. So Solomon Nielsen, her father, we know he died in Forslof in Sweden. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to do Solomon Nielsen. I will do his entire name, because I do know that he died. He was a male, and they always have their name. Solomon. The women, depending on the time frame, would likely have their husband's name. Then I need to do 04, 02, and I get rid of this. Oops, I've got to make sure I have the 1825, 04, 02, search. And here he comes up. Solomon Nielsen, here's his birth date, so Ford, and the parish, Forslov, and he actually died in Forslov, and 17th of January, 1896. So if I go look at this, I can see 17th of January, 1896, so it matches. And then when I come back here, if I click on this, then it will open up. It tells me that this is the Swedish word for married, gift, and this is his marriage date. So anytime you have whatever's under here, that's the civil date of when this happened. So if it said they were a widow or widower, this date would refer to that. That would be when their spouse's death date, when they died. So here's his birth date, and here's his birthplace and birth county, and then a county right here. This is the province, and then death date, the parish, province, county, and then this is his exact address. So you can see how you can find more information on the death. So that was just a quick little Swedish lesson for you. Let's go back here one more time. So I'm in this tree, my family tree, and actually we want to go back to this one right here. So I could come back here and I could look through here and I could go in and reserve. Once I've clicked on Ernst, I can see he's got 2 sources. So I would click on him and let's look at how he's related. View relationship. And he's a second cousin 3 times removed. So he's fair game. I can also click on his wife, and it looks like all of her work is ready to be done. She has 0 sources, so I could click on her and see if she's got any hints over on the side. I would like to find hints so I can attach some records to her. We'll see if nothing pops up. I can click on the Ancestry button, and as a member of the church, you can get an Ancestry account for free. And when I come in here, I'm looking for, let me refresh my mind on her, Britta Inga Heldina. It could be, there she is right here in this guy's tree, Bruce Paulson. And there she is right there. There's her birth. And so I could go in here. I click on this and I can look at the actual record. Once I have this, then I can come in and click in the source. So here's the source. I would copy that. And as far as the image, because it is on a copyrighted site, you can see down here the copyright for Ancestry. When we go back to Family Search, this is recent reminder of policy for Family Search. We cannot put that image on Family Search if it did not come from Family Search or if it wasn't part of our personal records. So we can snip it, we can download it, save it to our own Roots Magic file or our own computer or use it for personal use. So when you add your source, so she doesn't have a source, we click Add Source and we're going to do Add New Source. And right here where it says citation, I'm just going to do Command V on a Mac or Control V on a PC, and we paste that in there. So see that source citation? I can also come back here and I can copy this link. So somebody would have to have an Ancestry account for this link to work, but that will be the link. So if I wanted to go back to that, I could. And then I would put Britta Inga Heldina. Oh, what was her last name? Who's her father? If we go back to details, he was Berg. She was born in 1913, so she would be going by Berg. If she was born 1880-ish and previous to that, she would be Ernst's son or Ernst's daughter, and that's a whole nother Swedish lesson. So we will put Berg for her on there. So Heldina Berg, birth record, and I need to double check and see if it has her christening on there. So it looks like it gives just her birth date, not a christening date. They became less religious in the 1900s. So you have more civil information. And then we're going to put her date, 27 January 1913. And I'm just looking at that from Family Search, but let's go back and make sure. So actually this is the 23rd of January 1913. So that's when I go and look at the actual record. And we're looking for Britta Inga Heldina, and it is the 23rd of January. So when I come back here, I will fix it, and then I'll need to fix that within Family Search. 23rd of January. So do you see the importance of looking at the actual record? Super important, because you can always find errors. Once I've done that, in the notes, I could put more information, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to. And the reason to attach source proves parents and birth date. And then we'll put the name, and it was sex and birth, and it may have the christening if we go back and look. That's photo, which is the birth. This is her christened name. And I don't see, let's see. Those are the parents' birth dates, which is really awesome because you don't get that very often. So I don't see a christening date on there. So I will just say birth date, and then I check name, sex, birth, and save. So now she has a source. I have a death date for her. I feel very comfortable. I can click on ordinances and request. All right, so now she's requested, and I want to make sure that her husband is also requested. He's got 2 sources. He's got, and he's already done. He was, if you hover over this, he was done in 2016 in Payson. So when I reserved her, it automatically requested the sealing to spouse. All right, I will show you one more way that I love to be able to find missing people. If we go back to, so let's say you're on your tree and you look at this outer line. Let's say you're in your main tree. You can choose somebody. So let's say I'm going to go to this Christian Jensen. And I want to go to him in family search. So you can see he's in the 1700s. So this is my recommendation. You look at your tree with the fan view, and then you choose somebody in the outer layer that is in the 1700s. And then you'll choose descendancy view. So I'm going to choose view tree and change it to descendancy view. So it currently actually is in that. Your default may be in your fan chart. It could be in your landscape. But what you want is right here, you're going to click on descendancy. And then on this little box right here, you'll click, and you want to go 4 generations down. Make sure that this little button is open. If it's not, all of a sudden any record hints or any of these will disappear. If record hints is unchecked, then they will disappear. So I want all of those checked. I don't need the portraits. It will just clutter it up. And then when I click this, then I'm going to scan this right side, and I'm going to look for any green temples or any blue record hints. So you can see as I scroll down, there's a few. I scroll all the way down. There's a bunch of red with exclamation point. That means there's some problem that we need to fix. But I'm more concerned about finding a little record that I can attach. So if you went through the whole thing and you didn't find any, then you start clicking on these little circles with the arrow. That means it's a drop down, and you're just going to keep, and I just did that, and look what happened. There's a little green temple right here for Jens, and it's shared with the temple because it has the clock. And then all of a sudden I have his wife, Anna Katrina, and she is all yellow. We talked about this last week, that the yellow means that there's something missing that's allowing her work to be done. So if I click, and you can see there's quite a few of those here. So I could focus on that. So I'm going to go to Anna Katrina, and hopefully there's a record that will give me a little more information for her. So I just have a place of birth, and I have one source. The source may have it, and it just was not put in. So if I click on here, here's a Danish census in 1906. And I'll scroll down, and it says that she's living in Sertslav Borglum Joring, Denmark. If I scroll down, it says that that's where her husband was. And it may not say in the original record, but what I could do is I can look at the record, and I can at least put Denmark in there. Her name is very Danish, and I feel comfortable in saying that, or in saying that she was born in Denmark. But I can scroll in and look for her name, and you may say, oh, that's hard to read. So look for an A-N-E, Anna. So there's an Anna Maria. We're looking for Anna Katrina. Let's see if we can find her. She might be at the top. There she is. Anna Katrina Mortensen, married to a Jens Graver. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I take them off because there's a glare. So here's his birth date. They're married, and they're living here. It does not list their birthplace. So what I would do is I would just go back here, and I would go into details, and I would put Denmark. And then I can go look on my heritage. So we're going to put Denmark and say save. That will help the computer also look for more records here. It says it's missing a standardized marriage place. I can come down here and I can change that. And I can see that it needs a little fixing. It doesn't list Denmark there. So if I click on this, I can click on this box right here and it gives me a drop down. So Bronislav is the parish. And so I'm going to click on this. This is 1921 to 70. So actually this was 1904. Let's see if we've got one. Here's this one. We're going to go with this one. And then we're going to say save. So now we've fixed that. So then what I can do, I can reserve her. Or what I prefer to do is go to my heritage and see if I find any other records for her. Somebody may have a tree. It will automatically put the name up here in the top and the year of birth. And then down here it just says Denmark. So then I can look and see if there's Anna Katrina that pops up, and I would scroll through. But for the sake of time, we're not going to do that today. Let me know if you'd like to do a little class on Danish research. And so I'm coming back in here, and I know she was married, so she lived past age 8. So I'm comfortable in requesting. And it says there's actually possible duplicates for her, even though it did not say there were possible duplicates here. So then what I would need to do is look through in her family to see if there's one here, or maybe that was her parents. Let's try that again. By request, and it says review the duplicates. So I can click on this view duplicates, and let's see what's going on. And there's Anna Katrina Jensen. So let's review it. And this is our merging duplicates page. So it's saying the two people have no significant inconsistencies. So that means that everything matches with what they've got here. So we got a 15th of January, 1882. The duplicate is an exact birth date and an exact christening date. So the christening date matches with the christening that we've got. Well, that's the christening date that was brought over, sorry. This birth date matches. And then we would scroll down and we can see that they got married in Vester Bronislav. So you're looking for little clues to say this puzzle piece fits together. So Anna Katrine Mortensen got married in Vester Bronislav, and this christening date, which matches, or the birth date, sorry, matches this birth date. We didn't know we're in Denmark, but because it's exact date in the exact place where she got married, I feel very comfortable saying that this is the same person. And then the spouse matches. So I am going to scroll down and I'm going to say merge. And I'll say the first and last names match, the birth date and place matches, and the spouse matches. And actually marriage date and place matches, and I'll say submit. And once we've done that, then we scroll back down to make sure we don't have any other duplicates. So now we have a duplicate. Let's see if the marriage dates. So I've got this Jens born in the 31st of December, 1878. And then I've got this Jens. What was our other date here? Let's see. Yeah. So we've got these two guys that we now need to figure out, okay, are they the same guy or they are not? So then I would compare the records for this Jens Jorengård with this Jens Graven Christensen Mortensen. So we've got a little bit of work to do. This Jorengård is likely the farm that he's at. So I would be looking at, he has 2 sources attached. This one has 3 sources attached. So at this point, I can reserve her. I would need to resolve these 2 spouses by looking at the records, comparing them. It is common for their names to change within records depending on if they moved to a different place or served in the military. So I'm going to go to Anna Katrina and I'm going to request. Her baptism was already done, and I'll request these. And then I will go in and I will do some further research on my own on this. So I hope that this helps. Let's stop sharing there. Hopefully this gives you an idea of where you can go to look on your tree for family members to find. Just remember, you want to find sources and really analyze the sources, and make sure you have at least one source attached. Always be leery if it's somebody back really pre 1800s, in areas where there aren't records. It's very difficult in the British Isles to go really far back. And I know most people like to go back as far as they can. But if we can do the descendancy view, we're going to be much more likely to find people that really do need their work done, that haven't had their work done. So please make comments if this helps, if there's something else you need clarified, and let me know if there's something more that you would like to learn. And happy hunting. My invitation for you this week is to test this out, to see if you can find one person by using this roll-up test, or doing the descendancy by looking at the last line of your tree and then just clicking in the descendancy view. So we'll see you next week.